Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
Well, caught red-handed. I was going to try and change the track thing, but you see it says dirt track at Charlotte. I got caught sleeping. I wasn't too sure if this was going to be my deal or not, but it is, and welcome to night number 2 here of C2C Speedweeks. Representing the Steve King Foundation as our select charity. Once again, love the Steve King Foundation. You know, if you hear me talk about the pace truck or the pace car, the Steve King Foundation pace car, pace truck. Always jabbering on about that, but right now we're in the 358s. We got open setups here tonight. Race number 2 will have the 360 sprint cars out here at Volusia as well. So expect good racing. This is one of our favorite tracks here in Coast to Coast. I mean, every now and then, you know, somebody will extend a big lead or whatnot, but I'd say arguably the best for racing. Other than maybe, you know, I'd put Husette's in there. If you haven't watched any of those Hometown Heroes races on Wednesday night, you need to do so because they've been pretty good. You can race almost anywhere through the corners. A lot like here at Volusia, but you see that checkered flag wave, we're going to waste no time. Going to get ready to go into qualifying here, and we'll see. Right now, the quick man at the top of the charts in warm-ups is Brennan Lacey. I think we had 22 drivers, maybe 21. So everyone should make the feature here tonight. Let's see. Brennan Lacey actually is the first driver out on the racetrack. Let's find the 814. There he goes. Brendan Lacey coming around to take lap number 1 in the 8:14. What kind of speed is Lacey going to have here? The low line master he's known as, going to go upstairs through 3 and 4. Maybe didn't like 1 and 2, or this. Didn't really do my homework. Wasn't watching practice that well because it's purple. That's maybe where you want to be. Good run through 3 and 4 for Brendan Lacey. Takes the pole with a 16.22. Stephen Goldner coming in right behind him. About a 10th off. Let's find Randy Shreves takes the pole for now. 15.98. Astronomical amount. I imagine there will be some other guys that get close to that 15, but boy, oh boy, Randy Shreves setting the bar tonight. Here's the Sam Akonda. Sam Bachman rolls around, parks at P2. Sam likes to go low and slow, but likes that top line through 3 and 4, so that's got to be the preferred line, but he said enough's enough. Going to pull it off. Not even going to finish that lap number 2. It's Randy Shreves is your current pole sitter. Let's see the 24 here of Kyle Moonen in that beautifully painted DuPont 24. Kyle Moonen, he put a lot of time into that. You can tell. It looks amazing. And looking forward to maybe talking to the Moon Man here after tonight's event. Doesn't normally come out and play in the 358s, but it's good to see Kyle Moonen out here, and it's good to see he's showing some speed. Speaking of speed, look at Brian Dickens parking at P2. The man's won 2 358 modified races this season on Thursday nights. Been a big contender, and coming out here really putting it down. Good lap by the 122 of Brian Dickens, and well, everyone has finished up qualifying. So Randy Shreves, Brian Dickens, Sam Bachman, Stephen Goldner, Kyle Moonen, your top 5 here at the Volusia Speedway. As just making sure everything technical in the background is okay. Going to double check here on my phone. So sorry if you heard me talk there. I forgot to have that up. I like to pay attention. It's pretty much the only way I can see. And see, when I pull this up, I get to see Dean Reynolds. Hi, Shaggy from Orlando. What's going on? Right before I logged on, man, you know, my generation, we're addicted to Facebook. I saw that, what is that, $60 a night, that nice spot you scored. I can't, oh man, you even threw the advertisement out there of where you found the booking, man. But that was a beautiful view. I'm definitely, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to be here, but how could I not be a little jealous of where Dino's at right now? It looked absolutely beautiful. But let's take a look here at the starting grid. Heat race number 1 inside of row number 4, the 93 of Butters, Jason Butterfield. Row number 3 to the outside, Barry Goldner. To the inside, the General, Andy Patton. Row number 2 to the outside, Chad Griggs. On the inside, the low line master, Brennan Lacey. Row number 1 for heat race number 1 to the outside, Stephen Goldner. And starting on the pole, Randy Shreves. Now, you know, if you're normally watch Coast to Coast, you know they normally invert. Not tonight, not charity week. So Randy, he gets the pole. He earned that front starting spot. And Stephen Goldner, he's going to speed up a little bit. Is the pace truck going to pull in here? We're going to go around 2 times. I think that's why Goldner pulled up a little bit. Just going to play around a little. Warned me that we were going to go around here an extra circuit. Let's see, that camera got pretty quiet. Let's mess around. These 358s, though, all in all, are pretty quiet. So in these openers, you're pretty much just going to hear me talk and or breathe into the microphone. Let's see, we got Josh Soleil out there. You go to C2CRL.com, actually, man. This is charity week, so it's open to anyone. You see it at C2CRL.com. You just click the link there, C2C Speedweeks, and you should be able to join and register. Or if your I rating's under 3,500, you can join as a full-time member. But the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 1 underway, the 56. And Stephen Goldner touch a little bit. They meet in the middle again. And Stephen Goldner goes for a ride upstairs, goes from second, fourth, almost fifth, and well, Stephen Goldner might see a bullseye painted on the left rear of that 56, and the next time he comes up to him. The front stretch, you know, that's going to happen. People will divvy each way on the restarts, but boy, oh boy. Goldner not going to be too happy about that, I don't think, as the battle's on for second. Brennan Lacey slides up. We're 3 wide. Goldner looks on the bottom, and Lacey, Goldner, they are teammates, you see there in that SGR Stephen Goldner racing machine. And now Chad Griggs blinking a little bit. That's why you see the camera jumping around. We'll click on the cars behind him. Is the General Andy Patton. That's a new paint scheme, I think, for that 87. I haven't seen that on a modified yet. Looks good there. Matches the sprint car. The General always out there in a good-looking paint. But speaking of good-looking, coming to the halfway point, Randy Shreves with a 1-second lead over Chad Griggs. He's watching the teammates battle hard in his rearview mirror. Stephen Goldner prevails for now as Brennan Lacey falls back to fourth. Remember, Stephen Goldner started second. A little bit of contact there in the opening lap with the 56 of Randy Shreves. Still hasn't totally recovered yet as Randy Shreves coming through 3 and 4. Popsicle sticks in the air this time. 2 more laps to go here at Volusia Heat Race number 1 as Lacey reels back in. Stephen Goldner looking low, coming out of 2. They're side by side going down the backstretch. Can Brennan Lacey complete the pass? He's going to look low here. White flag flies. 1 more lap to go, and you see Stephen Goldner just too good of a run off that top shelf. Nothing Lacey can do. Final time through 3 and 4 for the 56 of Randy Shreves. And he's going to start on the pole tonight here for your 358 modified feature. Chad Griggs, Stephen Goldner, Brennan Lacey, Andy Patton, Jason Butterfield, and Barry Gold. We get ready here to take a look at your starting grid. Heat race number 2, starting on the inside of row 4, all by his lonesome there in the 143. Scott Saneker, row number 3 to the outside, the 05 of Devo. Donovan Ross to the inside, the 78 of Jack Clevenger. Row number 2 to the outside, the 25 of Gary Sigelkow. To the inside, the 94 of Gary Offit. Row number 1 for heat race number 2 to the outside, the 24 of the Moon Man, Kyle Moonen. And starting on the pole, the 122, that dirt track bank driver of Brian Dickens. Told you, Brian, he's one of the guys who have really turned it on this season. Hadn't won a 358 modified race in his C2C career, and then all of a sudden just podium after podium after podium. The guy has just nailed it consistently, and you see with a qualifying effort of P2, that shows how hard he's worked and how he's really been able to nail this car down. We roll through 3 and 4. Steve King Foundation pace truck does pull off. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 8 laps to play at Volusia Speedway. Heat race number 2 is underway. Brian Dickens tries to get those elbows out, but that beautifully painted 24 says this thing looks too good to get dirt on it. He's got to keep it to the top shelf. He goes up over the cushion. The 122 gave him no choice. Moonen either had to lift there on entry or go up top, and he decided he was staying in contact. Devo gets into the 94. Gary Offit able to straighten it out. Devo bounces off the outside wall. He may lose 1, possibly 2 spots as there's contact behind. Saneker gets into the back of Jack Clevenger. All this happening behind your leader in the 122, Brian Dickens, smooth sailing out front. Kyle Moonen hasn't really been able to reel in that fishing rod here. He'd love to give a go at the 122. He's got plenty of space behind him if he decides he wants to test some different lanes here on the racetrack, but right now, Donovan Ross, he looks to the inside. He's got Jack Clevenger taking a peek. For now, Jack Clevenger not going to throw anything here into 1, just doesn't have the run to even think about it as Kyle Moonen really losing touch with this 122, and Brian Dickens. Man, oh man. Field on full alert here. If this track does not change a lot in warm-ups, you got to think this 122 is going to have a rocket ship, but actually, sparks my memory here. We are going to run a B main no matter what, I think. Just to extend the show a little bit, let those guys race for their feature starting spots. Coming through 3 and 4, the 122 of Brian Dickens. Looking at this white flag in the air. He's got one more lap to go here at Volusia. Ryan, 1.9, 2 seconds. You just watch that lead increase. I mean, Moonen may be playing around with a different lane, but it doesn't matter. Brian Dickens wins heat race number 2, followed by Kyle Moonen, Gary Offit, Gary Singlecow, Jack Clevenger, Scott Seneker, and Donovan Ross. So we get ready to take a look at our third and final heat. The starting grid looks a little something like this. Rounding out the field, starting P7 and Boydell into the inside, the 4 of Greg Parmalee. Row number 2 on the outside, the 76 of Harold Klump. On the inside, the 5 of Slide Job, Isaac Salas. Row number 1 for your third and final heat race here in your Open 358 Modifieds. To the outside, the 20 of the Salesman, Blake Chapman, and starting on the pole, the 007 of the Samaconda, Sam Bachman. Of course, here we get to do a little refresh. We watch the Steve King Foundation pace truck most likely pull off here through the middle of 3 and 4. We've seen him do both, but pulling off was the most recent. So there we go. Getting ready to play here at Volusia Speedway. Green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Heat race number 3 is underway. Sam Bachman with a great jump there on that inside. He slides up and... Oh, Blake Chapman. He thought about throwing in the middle there. 3 wide. Doesn't have the run. But I'll tell you who does. Look at Salsa downstairs. Turning the heat up. Slide job. Floats up the racetrack. Gives Blake Chapman a little hello kiss there coming out of 4. As G.J. Boydell, Greg Parmalee, and Steven Bixler make a little contact through 1. G.J. Boydell makes the best out of anyone, but he's got a big gap now to those 4 in front of him. Here's G.J. looks back to the inside. Greg Parmalee not going away just yet. Is Blake Chapman firmly back in P2. Can the Salesman find a way to get that thing up to the front? He's running out of laps. Only 5 laps to go here. Sam Bachman in that 007, always good. Normally on the bottom, though, but we saw him in qualifying go to that top shelf. He liked it. He's having some success here in heat race number 3. Drivers liking that upstairs, but the beautiful thing about this, I've mentioned a couple times, open setups here this evening. So we do expect, drivers, they'll be able to make some adjustments here. You'll be able to gear that thing up to run the low side, or if you feel like there's nothing down there, you'll be able to gear it up to just rip around the outside as Isaac Salas inches closer to the rear end. 2 popsicle sticks in the air. 2 more laps to go. Blake Chapman, as close as he's been here to the 007. Can he make a move? White flag in the air this time coming out of 4. It's time to win it or wear it here. This is the difference between 3rd or 6th. Possibly 9th there if you're Slide Job. So gotta find a way. Final time through 3 and 4. Checkered flag waves. And Sam Bachman holds on to win your 3rd and final heat race. Blake Chapman, Isaac Salas, Harold Klump, Greg Boydell, Greg Parmalee, and Steve Bixler round out your field. That's okay. I promise I was fed information that we were running a B main no matter what. Well, you can You can read probably better than I can. Up there it says warm-ups. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So we're going to click over to the video here. Wasn't ready. My apologies. It'll probably end short. But when the video comes back, we'll be right back with your 358 modified. Sorry about running that there 1.5 times, but we are back live. I had to do a little dig in here. This next 360 race is not supposed to start until 9 Eastern. Now, if it takes them 50 or an hour to do 50 laps here at Volusia, we're all in for a long night. But either way, we're going to be in for a little long night. So I had to go around, hop around, open up the floor to some drivers, ask some guys to stick their nose into Discord here in between race sessions. So that was my goal there, and that's why the extra delay. So sorry about that, but you see Sam Bachman quick time. Isaac, one of the guys who I was bugging, able to run P2 while I'm in his ear chirping. So it shows how quick that 5 car is here tonight. You're going to have to keep an eye on Isaac Salas. Let's see here. Warm-ups come to a close. We're going to get ready here to take a look at your starting lineup here for your 360 Sprint Car feature for Coast to Coast Speedweeks, night number 2. Oh, we want to go one further than that, Zach. There we go. Rounding out the field, starting in the blackjack position in the 75, Steven Bixler. Row number 10 to the outside, the 05 of Devo, Donovan Ross. To the inside, the 36 of Barry Goldner. Row number 9 on the outside, the 4 of Greg Parmalee. To the inside, the 143 of Scott Zeneker. Row number 8 on that top shelf, the 93 of Butters, Jason Butterfield. And to the inside, the 014 of G.J. Boydell. Row number 7 on the outside, the 78 of Jack Clevenger. To the inside, the 87 of the General, Andy Patton. Row number 6 on the outside, the 76 of Harold Klump. On the inside, the 25 of Gary Sigelkow. Row number 5 on the outside, that 414 of the low-line master, Brennan Lacey. To the inside, the 5 of Slide Job, Isaac Salas. Row number 4 on the outside, the 94 of Gary Offit. To the inside, the 30 of Steven Goldner. Row number 3 on the outside, the 20 of the salesman, Blake Chapman. On the inside, the 24 of the Moonman, Kyle Mooney. Row number 2 on the outside, the 27 of Chad Griggs. To the inside, your heat race number 3 winner, the 007 of Sam Bachman. Row number 1 for your 358 modified feature, starting on the outside, the 122 of the Brian Dickens. On the inside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. 50 laps here at the Volusia Speedway, and I'm telling you, I don't want to put the pressure on these guys. With what I've seen some of these Thursday night races, I would not be surprised if this thing's over in a flash and we go 50 laps, green flag. These guys know what they're doing. You got to behave. You can't beat up the right front on these like you used to. You're really going to pay for it. So that Steve King Foundation pace truck is going to pull off. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 50 laps to play in the clay of Volusia Speedway. We're underway. Good jump there for the 56. He moves the 122. Oh, man. Steven Goldner, he's going to say, I remember that. I've seen that move. Goldner there gets chopped off. He goes around. Able to keep it straight, but a couple cars loop it around. And we are under caution here at the Volusia Speedway. Boy, oh boy, lots and lots to break down here. We're going to have to play around with this one ourselves a little bit, I'd imagine, with the buttons. Let's see. So it all kicks off. We'll have to see if Brian Dickens ends up being lucky enough to get his spot back. Let's watch that top of the screen. Brian Dickens, he gets moved up out of the way. Blake Chapman then cracks the throttle a little bit. Now as we slow it down, Griggs comes down the racetrack. He has no idea Goldner's going to drive it in deep and, try to stick it in there low. Goldner gets on the binders, spins around, hard contact from the 5, but it does straighten him out. And the 94 of Gary Offit, when he gets into the back of Goldner, he gets in the brakes. He does a full loop, and the General, Andy Patton, tries to get up out of the way, but turns into... Couldn't tell who that was up there. That was Scott Zeneker. It was Scott Zeneker in the 143, so Zeneker just thinking he's going to make it, and then all of a sudden he finds himself doing a loop. Here's the 122 of Brian Dickens, man. You get moved up out of the way. I bet you this guy, this may be an exciting restart here. And I'm not too sure. I do think caution laps are counting. I mean, we see them moving. Maybe they won't count when we go across the line. They may not make them count for this. I think in the 360 race, they're going to have to count. Because 50 laps on one tank of fuel, they don't let us hit that gas yet in the dirt. So kind of doomed if you don't here. But Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off. The green flag is high. We're back underway. Lap 5 at the Volusia Speedway. And yeah, with caution laps counting, they are counting. So drivers, you got to behave. Don't want to watch this race waste away under the yellow flag conditions. And we already got a battle for the lead. Brian Dickens takes a peek on the inside. But looky who, Sam Bachman, man, he's the guy to watch. That 007 heat race number. Oh, man, he floats up. He almost gets into the side of Brian Dickens. Chad Griggs takes advantage. He looks back to the outside, and Chad Griggs claims that third and final podium spot. Chad Griggs reels in that 122, who now takes a peek under that 56. We'll have to see what he can do through 3 and 4. This may set the bar. He's able to pull even. Now, can he throw a slider in 1? Does he return the favor? He plays nice for now. But Brian Dickens, the man, he's got a mind of an elephant. If he gets crowded down too low, you got to wonder if he maybe feeds him back a little bit side by side at the line. Give it to the 56. Randy Shreves with a much better job there in 1 and 2, and you see the 122 float up. Chad Griggs eats a little bit of left rear, or right rear, and Griggs has to come out of the throttle. All of a sudden that allows the Salsa King slide job. Isaac Salas to put it in the middle, 3 wide. He gets into the side of Griggs a little bit. Probably expected Griggs to go up that half a lane over the cushion. There is grip up there. That's where we've seen Isaac running, but he chose to go to the middle. Had to try to make it work here as we take a peek through the back of the field. Jason Butterfield, he's currently your hard charger in that 93. Butters trying to take a peek under the 30 at Goldner. Didn't have momentum. Had to drop back upstairs and get in line as Isaac Salas in the middle there. Blake Chapman downstairs. But Chad Griggs losing another spot here to the salesman Blake Chapman. Up 2 spots here from the start. Sam Buckman almost gets into the 122. You see Blake Chapman, he tries to take advantage. Can he get a run on the outside? Sam says, no way, Jose. Holds on to that third and final podium spot. There's Brian Dickens, man. He's close enough to smell what Shreves had for dinner. But he just can't find a way to make the move. Is Randy Shreves doing what he does oh so well, holding that preferred line and just not making any mistakes there in that 56. Steven Bixler started this thing in dead last here. He's up 4 spots as well to 17th, but he's got, as always, Blake Chapman, the salesman. He wants to sell you some popcorn, so he's got to take a peek. Give him third at the line. Blake moves on up. Well, he moves on up, but he moves on low. He does it the low line, and you got to love it because the kid just absolutely watching the tread stay on that right rear while those guys are hammered down around that outside, really letting her crank. Blake is low and slow, cooking some brisket here on a Monday night. He's trying to go 2 for 1. Randy Shreves blinks a little bit. Maybe scared Blake, not going to get it, but he does move on up to P2. Brian Dickens kind of stuck behind the 56 right now, trying to find a way out. Blake Chapman showing everybody the way, and here comes the low line master behind him. Brennan Lacey in the 414. Welcome to the dance. Brennan Lacey tries to get back in that throttle. You saw he gave Blake a little bump there. May help Blake out. Shot out of a rocket ship there. Going down the backstretch, and Blake Chapman, welcome to the lead. Lap 17 at Volusia Speedway. Brennan Lacey peeking low. Randy shutting the door. Brennan says, dude, I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. Bing, bang, and side by side going into 3. Brian Dickens takes advantage of that. He opens up that gap a little bit over Brennan Lacey. But Brennan was saying, man, I ain't going to be bullied out here in this schoolyard. He was down there. That lunch money's his. And he's hungry. That 14 moving on up to the front. Looking low. Will he have P2 at the line? No, not just yet. Brian Dickens holds on. As Blake Chapman through 3 and 4, you see the cloud of dust behind him. And well, speaking of the cloud of dust here, let's see what it looks like. Let's hop in the cockpit here of Harold Klomp. You see there, that dust up high, man. You're not comfortable with this racetrack. You go in there, you jump that cushion, you find you're that right front eating the wall, just like Harold Klump. He floats up a little bit too high coming out of 4. Right front looks straight for now on that 2 machine, but you're not going to take many like that here at Volusia and live to tell the tale, so got to tighten that up. Is Isaac Salas looking to the outside. Brandon Lacey. Remember, he was making that low line work, but now Brian Dickens, he's kind of fought him off. And Randy Shreves, who started this race out front, has fallen back to 6th place as the Sam Akanda, you know, man, he just slithers around like a snake. You got to wait to strike. And he always chooses the right moment. Sam Bachman here, as we're coming closer and closer to the halfway point, has raced his way up into the top 5 here at Volusia. Stephen Goldner there getting washed out a little bit. You see Harold Klump looking under him. He's trying to get a run back here at the Moon Man. And that beautifully painted 24, but Kyle Moonen goes up, shuts the door. And Kyle started this thing in 5th, back to 9th right now. Brennan Lacey looks out that front windshield. He watches the 7 and the 5 go by upstairs, and he said, enough's enough. Going to go up there, too, as Sam Bachman goes up half a lane higher. Thinks about maybe throwing a slide job here in 1. No, he's going to keep it on the bottom. What can Sam Bachman do? The answer is absolutely nothing, except watch that 5 car just drive away with that momentum on the high side as Brian Dickens, here he comes. You watch Blake go back by, but we've seen the bottom is starting to fade. I know the salesman. I'm telling you, you can accuse the kid all you want. I mean, him and I'm the first person to admit it. We've had it out before on the racetrack, and, well, it turns out, what a surprise. Ask my wife, and she'll tell you I was wrong. And Blake, I mean, the kid, he don't run. He may have the mirror on, but he don't drive like that. I've seen him give up the lead too many times. There are other guys who maybe tell you they don't run a mirror and tell just by the way they're driving when the car gets closer, they have a mirror or a dang good teammate relaying information to them, telling them exactly where that driver is. But Blake, if he likes that bottom, man, he's going to stay committed to it. We've seen him do that. He's rolling the middle now, still through 3 and 4, even as the pack inches closer and closer, using that run off the top shelf. But Brian Dickens now, he's trying the Blake Chapman line. He likes that low little slider. He slid up a little higher than Blake did the last time, and I think that allowed that right rear to step out. But let's see this field kind of spaced out here as we're going to park here for the lap. Now, here comes your leaders in the middle of 3 and 4, so they are going to catch lap traffic here before this thing's over. If this stays green, keep an eye out on that. You see it all the time, man, at your local dirt track every night. How often does it looks like a leader got this thing locked up, but just can't find a way to manipulate lap traffic? As Sam Bachman thinks about a slide job. Isaac Salas there. Sam keeps it down low, but the caution flag waves here at the Volusia Speedway. One more time. Brandon Lacey here in the 14 machine. You know, he's got the 56 of Randy Shreves behind him. Let's see what happened to Brandon. Yeah, just gets a big shot there from the 56. And, well, Brandon Lacey goes around. Not too sure. Let's rewind. Maybe something happened a couple laps ago here, but doesn't look like it. Yeah, I think maybe Randy just overdrove that corner, got into the back of Brennan, and just like that, under caution here once again at the Volusia Speedway. But I was pleading with Blake Chapman to maybe wreck some people, extend this thing with some cautions. Make this race last a little longer, but then come to find out here, caution laps count. And Blake Chapman's out front, so how's he supposed to turn anybody for me here? make this race go a little longer. But I see we got Isaac's grandpa out there, Arlen, watching. We got Kim out there watching. Got the whole Salas family. Can he find a way to get around these two and park that thing up front? I mean, there's not much. In fact, I'm willing to go out on a limb. I'm not the best here with my C2C history, but there can't be anybody else in this league with a better win percentage. And when I mean win percentage, I mean bringing home the weekly trophy than that man in the 5, Isaac Salas. Because Isaac Salas, dang good at these things and probably one of the best all-around drivers we have. He's one of those, you know, people's, what do they say, master of none, or jack of all, master of none. But he's master of some, jack of all, because this kid, he's absolutely dominant. I mean, in a local affiliated league there, Friday Night Lights, Isaac went out there and just stormed through that league this year in the 358s. Anytime I was around watching, he put on a show. And give him the chance, he's going to do it again here. We're going to have 17 laps to go. Steve King Foundation pace truck is off. Blake Chapman fires, and we're back underway. Now, do the tempers flare here? People have regrouped. What kind of racing do we see? So far, so good, peeking back through the field, but we look back towards the front. Isaac Salas making the move here on the 122 as Sam Bachman, whoa, he ran out of room up there, did a good job of getting on the binders. Sam Bachman racing with his dipstick there. That could have been bad for the 007. Smart to lift out of that. You live to race another day, as Dino and I will say. And look at these boys behind, 3 and 4 wide. They're racing for today, that's for sure. Harold Klump in the middle, in between two teammates, Moonen to the outside, Goldner to the inside. What can we do through 3 and 4? Oh boy, we hold on. There's a little contact. Goldner comes up the racetrack just ever so, gets into the 2. They continue as Blake Chapman. Does he turn the wick up here? Has he been saving his stuff? Does he unleash the beast? Is the 56. Oh, he gets sideways in 3 and 4, and the caution finally waves. Randy Shreve's not too sure how this one kicked out. I just kind of saw him wash out sideways. And well, now, okay, you know, I mean, obviously different driver, but let's watch this one. We're going to watch this, and I'm going to be quiet, and then we're going to watch something else. Now, what's that song? Like, do you see what I see? Now, sometimes the racing gods have a way of equaling stuff out, as my father would say, and well, you be the judge there. You know, not necessarily, like I say, maybe didn't do that on purpose, but and that old adage is true. Goes around, comes around. Sometimes I'd know better than anybody. You ask anybody in here, there's probably not a guy on this racetrack I haven't wrecked that probably hasn't raced me aggressive back because of that driving style. And, you know, sometimes it takes you a little bit to modify that. And I definitely did not do that overnight. And I bet you some of these drivers would say I still haven't done it. Just got to live and learn here, but we're watching the laps tick away. We should go 1 to green this time, so we'll have 11 to go here when we go back racing. I do believe, let's see, are the lights off on the pace truck? Yes, they are. So we are going to go back here. 11 to go. Yeah, Dino, I just saw the chat. I did say racing with the dipstick. You remember those commercials? I can't even... Was that Napa? I don't even remember. I know those old car commercials. But we roll through 3 and 4 here. Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off, and Oh, no, 12 to go. I thought we'd have 11. Maybe the laps haven't been counted. Maybe I'm out of my mind. Who knows? Who cares? We're back underway here at Volusia. Brian Dickens floats up, takes that top stairs. Sam Bachman, he's going lower than anybody. You got to go where they are, and if you want to find a way around, that's exactly what the 007's doing here. But he just can't find the run going down these straightaways. That 5, too much steam coming off the top. For that 007 to really stick around. Maybe if we had the big blocks out, you know, you could grip that thing down, find a way to hammer it down the straightaways. But right now, limited power. Sam doing what he can on the bottom here at Volusia. Speaking of doing what he can, look at Brian Dickens. He's inching closer to the salesman. We're going to have a run here out of 4. He's going to look upstairs, but Blake shuts the door. Good job there by Blake Chapman, taking away the preferred line coming out of 4. But Brian Dickens, how much longer can he be held off? He's got a lot of speed middle off. He's just really losing a lot of distance there. He gives Blake a little bump going into the corner. Rugged's racing here at Volusia Speedway. Not enough to counter here and take the lead, but just ever so slight. Let Blake know, hey kid, I'm here, let's go. This is for charity. Blake Chapman still down there on that inside. Isaac Salas, Brian Dickens, Sam Bachman, and pretty much everyone else on back. On that high side, Blake slides up through 4. Doesn't have the run that they do in the center of the corner. Dickens drives up high, doesn't want to get in the back of the 20 yet again. And Blake Chapman with a good run off the bottom. Able to gap the rest of the field enough. Coming to 5 to go. You see that hand in the air. Isaac Salas running out of options here. Brian Dickens drives in deep and the center floats up. If Isaac can counter, this is his chance, but he's blinking. He's gone. There, he's back. Magic Man in the 5. Sam Bachman to the inside. Yellow flag waves. We are back under caution at the Volusia Speedway. So what happened here? That definitely wasn't the caution. Let's see here. Well, that's definitely the caution. Griggs hooked, goes down the racetrack. Boydell goes back up the racetrack after being hooked there. And Stephen Goldner, he ballparks it. See you later. 30 hits a home run here at Volusia Speedway going down the backstretch. Oh, we got Kelsey out there watching tonight. Thanks for tuning in, Kelsey. What else we got? Who have I missed? Just Dino yapping on. Oh, you even called Kelsey being here before I did. I'm telling you, that setup Roger posted in that C2C thread. I think he shared it on his Facebook page too. I'm so jealous, Roger. If you can hear me, that 4th monitor up top, just that triple setup. Oh my God! If you guys could see the triples I have rigged together. They're just monitors spaced around on different tables beside me in a windowsill. So, hey, we do what we can. When we race, we only use that middle monitor. It's just nice to have the other ones for the broadcasting help. As the green flag is high, we're going to get ready to go back underway. 4 to go here at the Volusia Speedway. Blake drops the hammer. Advantage leader here on restarts. If Brian's got anything, man, he absolutely nailed that restart. He's going to have time to do it, but he's got to hit his marks here. Coming down the backstretch through 3 and 4. He's going to run the middle, leave the top shelf open for Isaac, but Isaac isn't close enough to even think about a run here. Isaac's going to need those front 2 to mix it up a little bit here if he wants to battle for the lead. Right now, he's probably got his sights set on that rear view mirror. He's going to be busy holding off that 007 as we're coming to 2 to go. Brian Dickens taking a peek on the outside. Blake leaves him a lane. I told you, the kid don't race that mirror, man. He's one of the cleanest guys we have. And it's going to lead to an amazing race here. Side by side, going down the backstretch through 3 and 4. White flag in the air for Brian Dickens as he takes the lead. Brian Dickens, he led early, fell back to second, laid in the grass, but here comes Blake Chapman. What does he do? Final time through 3 and 4. Side by side, coming to the line. Brian Dickens wins the 358 feature here. Night number 2 in the Coast to Coast Speedweeks. Steals it from the salesman Blake Chapman. Isaac Salas holds on to the 3rd and final podium spot. Sam Bachman and Jason Butterfield, after racing his way up 11 spots. Hell of a race for Butters. Gonna round out the top 5. Man, oh man. I'll tell you, I'm the first person to admit as a broadcaster, I got to BS a lot. I didn't think Brian Dickens was going to be able to do what he just did. And that run coming out of 4, coming to 2 to go. Great job for the 122, and we were treated to probably, I didn't watch last night. I was guilty of broadcasting another league. Sometimes Shaggy cheats on the league. That's my fault. But, man, probably one of the best finishes we've ever had in a charity week. But let's go back. Let's find that long green flag run we had here. And let's see if we can get a word here with the driver of this 5 car, Isaac Salas. Man, oh man, Isaac, it seemed like we had a racy track tonight, but right at the end, and obviously, sometimes it doesn't go your way, but that final restart maybe just got caught napping a little bit, and it just seemed like you didn't have a chance to go up there and play with those guys again.
Yeah, just a little too late on firing off, and trying to look through Brian's car to see when Blake was gonna go, and it's fun to watch though. I was definitely a fan until Sam was alongside of me until I realized that I was racing again.
Yeah, you and Sam, it seemed like, you guys would rotate trying to get around Brian. And yeah, the name of the game. I mean, Brian, he wins the race, but not always the fastest car who wins this thing. You and Sam were pretty dang quick back there, but middle stage towards the end, it just seemed like, man, you had to do it up high. How was the racetrack?
Yeah, actually, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, 3 and 4 was really good, really wide. Blake was on the bottom there for basically most of the race. I was ripping the top, trying to get it to come in. And if this was a big block race, I think I would have had I would have had something. But and then late into that, Brian runs that middle kind of higher slider line, and it prevails. So 3 and 4 especially were really racy. 1 and 2 were kind of, I don't know. I'd almost say it was that bottom line was dominant, and I was just too picky to go down there. But yeah, super happy with how the track came out.
Yeah, it led to good racing. And at one point, we go almost 25, I think, laps green flag. I mean, in a 50-lap race, does that wear you guys down at all, or is having that nice little break there in the middle nice?
Well, it's great. It's a great mental break, I can tell you that. I was like, man, I don't even know what to do anymore. Then you get that, like in just like attack mode, and you kind of start to get a little, horse blinders going on, and so that caution up there was good. But it reset everybody, and we got another tiny little bit of green flag action in there, and then it was a little bit of caution. So, overall happy with it as first time admining. I don't know how you say it, but in quite a while. So I'm glad that everybody took it pretty easy on me. So I was happy with how the result came out.
Well, Isaac, the result, I'd say pretty good, man. You know the deal. I mean, the wins help, but I talked during the broadcast. How many of them do we have? How many of these Charity Week trophies do we actually have? What's the number?
I can look to my left and count for you if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. We've got till 9 o'clock.
6, 7, 8, 9,
6,
10.
7, 8.
I got I got like 12 total.
Oh my God! See, I told all you guys, this guy, he's the winningest. There's no way anybody has more of those trophies than you. I don't know if we
Not
have a
not
database.
for not for charity weeks, I don't believe.
Yeah, no, there's no
Especially
way.
not for Super Dirt Week. I can tell you that.
I wonder if that's something, maybe I'll get on Patrick in that admin chat. Maybe he can see who's won the. We've got to have him racked up somewhere. But Isaac, you're the king of them, man, for a reason. And these podiums will add up. So we're going to see you out here in the sprint cars here later.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. We're going from my realm to a lot more of these guys' realm, so we'll see how it'll unfold. But I'm pretty excited, so we'll see how she goes.
You may
I
be able
hate to
to.
lose.
You may be able to fool the people listening, but you're not going to fool me. You can wheel those sprint cars just fine. If you keep it out of the wall, I expect you up there in the top 5. But Isaac, you know the drill, man. Before you get out of here, got some nice sponsors on that thing. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, big shout out to Venom Racing. It's happy to see Butters up there with me. So
Yeah,
two
up
two of us
11
in the top
spots,
5.
dude. Hard charger.
That's
That
what
was a
I'm
great
saying, dude.
run.
I was up 6. He was up 11. So we dug in pretty good. So I was happy about that. Dean, the Super Dirt Car Series. I hope you're enjoying your work vacation down in Florida while I'm freezing up here. Magnum Race Designs, JRB Designs for that scheme and Butter scheme. Arson Trackside, Mission 22, Top Notch Truck with my Grams, Shaggy TV with you, sir. Happy to hear your voice a little bit. Not as a competitor for once. Regency Home Inspections, Mom, Dad for watching, Gramps for watching. Kelser in the living room for sitting through these and letting me do this on a Monday night. But yeah, other than that, good run to everybody. I was happy to see it, and good win to Mr. Brian.
Yeah, man. He's been a force in these modifieds this year. I mean, this
I know.
obviously.
I don't know where it came from. It's
No,
disgusting.
dude, he had never won a 358 modified race until this season, and now he's got 3. I mean, obviously, this is not a points race, but 3
I know,
wins
but
in
still.
like 5 or 6 weeks. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, trust me. I know. I'm feeling the effects of it. I'm getting my butt whooped every week now. It's weird.
Well, Isaac, man, congratulations. Thanks for sticking up here for a while and lengthening this out. I appreciate it. Good luck here in the 360s, brother.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Zach. I'll talk at you later.
That's Isaac Salas bringing home P3. And now we're going to bring up the man who I know, Blake, it's for charity, man. So we're just going to shake this one off. But boy, oh boy, how's it feel? You're setting sail out front. You got a good race car. And Brian, I mean, when you go back and look at this, he just nailed that restart, dude. He was right there on you. You didn't really get that benefit of being the leader. And he just went to work, man, and stole that thing from you at the end. What's going through your head?
Yeah, I could tell those last 10 laps or so, he was quicker than I was by a pretty big margin. So I was just trying to make the car as wide as possible. That last restart there, I could tell my tires were really going away on me. I hit it and I just spun them really bad, and I didn't get the restart that I needed. I know I needed a good restart, and I didn't get it. So again, I was just trying to make the car as wide as possible. And congrats, Brian. He ran a really good race, ran me clean, and went out and stole this one.
Yeah, man, he really did. And, I kind of foreshadowed this one a little bit, Blake, because I don't know if you have the mirror on. And, if you do, you are the only person who looks up at that mirror. And I can tell you, 10 out of 10 races, man, you hold your line, you set your car up to do one thing, and you just stay dedicated to it. Now, I heard some other drivers, talking, well, Isaac, really. He said that he thought it was kind of bottom dominant, but as we saw it go away from you at the end, personally, me, from watching the race, I thought you were one of the only people really making the bottom work. I mean, how'd you feel about the track?
Yeah, that bottom was really quick at the start of the race, especially 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 really was never there. But then that middle kind of came in, that middle bottom, and that's really where you had to be. And I think Brian found a little more room, farther up the track, probably still in that middle. So I don't think the top was really there, like probably Isaac wanted to run, but I wouldn't say it was a super bottom dominant track. I think you can run a couple different lines there in the middle.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. And you were doing a good job there of widening that car out. But coming to the line there, 2 to go, you maybe had a chance to make that thing a little wider. But were we just racing smart there, not trying to make any enemies here Saturday night?
Yeah. I know at one point, I was drifting up the track, and then I wasn't even paying attention, and I heard a car outside from my spotter, so I quickly turned it down as quick as I could, and I knew at that point he probably had me. So I was just trying to give it as much as I could there at the end, and congrats to Brian, he found something that I didn't, and fortunately, we were able to hold on to second. I haven't run these things in a really long time, so definitely not disappointed at all in the second place run.
Now, obviously, I probably know better, and so do the listeners here, but we've got till 9 o'clock, Blake, so this is getting extended. When you drive it into 3 and 4 that final time, there any thought about going in there and laying the wood a little bit?
No, I don't want to do that, especially at a charity event. You don't want to be that guy. So I knew I was thinking about throwing a slider, with 2 to go there, but he ran me down a little bit, and he was sort of in that middle, and I knew it wasn't going to be there in 3 and 4. If I tried a slider, it was going to backfire really, really bad. So, I decided just to try and get as good as a run as I could, not overdrive it, and but still give it as much as I could without overdriving it. So we tried that, but just didn't quite have enough.
No, man, you made it look good. Is clean, great finish, and at the end of the day, Blake, man, these P2s add up. So if you're gonna be here for the charity week stuff, maybe you're gonna dethrone Isaac, bring home a trophy. But I don't know what your plans are. But either way, Blake, congratulations, man. Good P2 tonight, and I know we'll be watching you in this 360 race, so it's probably not going to be the last time we hear from you. But go ahead and read them off, bud.
Yeah, I got to thank the parents for watching. Got to thank all the guys down at the Krite Sim Racing team. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy and AJ Custom Creations. I got to thank everyone involved in putting this charity event on. And of course, I got to thank Steve's Custom Golf Clubs. He's got the best equipment out there. You're looking to add a little bit more to your drive, looking for more accurate putts, or work on your short game a little bit. He's the guy to go to. That's located in Clarence, Iowa. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website, and don't forget to use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their very delicious popcorn. And I got to thank you for the broadcast, Shaggy.
Hey, great run, man. And like I say, keep that thing clean. Hopefully I'm talking to you after the 360 race. Good luck, kid.
I hope so. Thank you.
And now we bring up a man, no stranger to having to wait for these interviews this season, Brian. I'll tell you, man, these wins are coming out of nowhere. I told everybody, you got to watch out for this 122, man. And boy, oh boy, you sneaked through. Drop us in that helmet, man. What are you thinking? You're coming to 4 to go. If you did not nail that restart, it was over, but you absolutely aced it, man.
Yeah, man. It was, I couldn't decide if I wanted to run high in the 3 and 4 or take that middle line. The restart before the last restart, I was taking a high line. I saw Isaac and them coming, so I felt like that was the quicker way, but I decided under the caution that middle line in 3 and 4 would be the way to go.
Now, when you get that run coming to 2 to go here, you take a peek on the outside. Blake starts floating up a little bit. Now, hindsight, he leaves you a little room, but man, what's going through your head there? Were we staying in the throttle no matter what? I mean, you were coming like a bat out of hell, dude.
Nah, I mean, you still had to pretty much baby that thing coming up off the corner, but I was very surprised that I had enough room coming off of 4 to get up beside him. I felt like once I got beside him and he couldn't float it up off, I felt like I was going to be in good shape and watch my mirror the whole time because I know it was Isaac and it was right back there behind me. So yeah, it was had some pressure there.
Now, obviously that kid, man, he ended up getting around. We know he's clean, but it is charity night. So going through 3 and 4 that final time, were we expecting any rub in there for the final lap?
I honestly didn't know when it came to the checker. I had to look down to make sure I had won and had in one position. I felt like it was pretty daggone tight. So, but yeah, I would expect it a little bit of a rub. I know he's not going to be rough though.
No, yeah. I was surprised, he didn't come up there and just try to, put a little tire mark on that 22 or something right there on the side. But man, he left you that room. And Brian, I tell you, out of nowhere, 3 races. I know this isn't a points race, but 3 wins this season, man. You're really showing these guys when you put your put your head down and start working on this small block, dude. You're going to be a force to reckon with. Pretty unbelievable. That last lap pass. Hell of a run here, Brian. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Dirt Track Bank, of course. Everything they do for us, our team, and our league. Hammer Down Racing, Kurt, BT, and Joe. Have a ton of fun with those guys. I want to thank my own Edge Racing team that we run mostly on asphalt together as well. Coast to Coast, everything they do. A lot of behind the scenes work. Have a whole lot of fun. I appreciate it. You on the broadcast, man, you're nailing it. You're doing a hell of a job, buddy. C2C, I already mentioned him, and Jared Jackson for the wrap this week. He had a pretty nice looking scheme this week, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, you honored him by putting it in victory lane too. So, hell of a job, Brian. Congratulations. We're gonna see you out here in this 360, or are we gonna one and done tonight?
Nah, you know I'm not running sprint cars no more.
I feel you. I'm in that same damn boat. Congratulations, Brian, and hey, good luck the rest of the week if we see you, man.
All right, man. Thanks.
Brian Dickens, I'll tell you. Let's go back one more time here because all we have is time. Because I'm probably going to run maybe one or two ads. Here, grab a drink in before since we're not going till 9 o'clock. But let's watch this white flag lap here one more time. Throw this away. And Brian, he said he had to look down here. It was that close. It was pretty close. I mean, Blake gets this run here coming off. That's where Brian kind of floats up a little bit. You can see the right rear step out from under him. He got a little bit too happy on the throttle. And Blake came back with a run. So it was close, man. But Brian Dickens, enough on that top shelf. He was exactly right. If you get to that outside, you don't let that guy float up. Just didn't have the momentum. And Brian Dickens stole the show with 2 to go. Congratulations to that 122. And we're going to step away here for a minute or two on the Coast to Coast race, or for longer than that, probably about 5 to 10 minutes. Going to step away, and we'll be back with a little 360 sprint car action here at the Volusia Speedway. Stick around.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight when we talked about it.
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a
Hiatus. So
it's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a
hiatus, so let's get. Tonight we'll be talking about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman here with Shaggy TV. Ready to bring you part 2 of night number 2 here at the Volusia Speedway. We got the Open 360 sprint cars out here. A night where this should surprise no one. The 30 of Stephen Goldner currently at the top of the charts. Randy Shreves, Andy Patton. Round out that top 3 is we got a little while to go here before we get ready to roll. We got 9 o'clock and, well, I'll tell you, ran all those commercials. I went and got a drink. Said drink is on the countertop next to the refrigerator, just looking at me sweating with ice cubes in it. Because I forgot to bring it over with me. So, we're going to sit here at the front stretch for just 20 seconds. I promise. I'm going to spin this chair around and hustle my butt over there, but you're not going to hear me real quick. Can't watch soda get watered down, you know. That's definitely, if any of you know me, see me. All right, I'm a big boy. I've always been a big boy. 6 foot. I was at the doctor's a couple weeks ago, 284. Now, I used to even be a lot bigger than that. Closer to the 350 mark at one point in time. And when I tell you, it is, I swear to God, strike me dead if I'm lying. It is because of Pepsi and Martin's barbecue potato chips. Now, if you're not from the East Coast and you don't know what Martin's barbecue potato chips are, well, that's your problem, not mine. Because you put that in that hell of a good dip, sour cream and onion. You know, in the red container, that hell of a good dip brand. There is nothing better on the market. And, well, you know, that's why kind of look like a little bit of an inner tube sometimes. But, you know, hey, you only get one trip around. And I've quit cigarettes, man. I've quit all sorts of stuff. But I'll tell you, I ain't quitting Pepsi. And Stephen Goldner ain't quitting that high side. Look at him running around here through 1 and 2. Stephen Goldner, he's always quick. He's got his teammate behind him in that 14, Brennan Lacey. They're rolling behind Devo in that 05, Donovan Ross. Tailing the salesman, Blake Chapman. Right now, this is an all-star room practice. If I am in with these guys, there is not a chance I'm not queuing up waiting there, just like the General Andy Patton is in that 87. I want to see what I got. And now that Blake Chapman pulls over, if I'm the General, I wag that throttle a little bit more and I let Goldner and Lacey run me down, because you're not going to get many chances to learn from those kind of guys. And, well, you know, I got on my rant and I looked over at the counter. You heard me talk that whole time. I never went up and got that drink. So enjoy Goldner and Lacey. I'll be right back. All's right in the world. Got the cold soda next to us, and, well, Goldner gets a love tap from his teammate there. The 414, and then you gotta love it. He tried to go up there and grab him back and say, if you're gonna turn me, I'll get you too, but he missed, went straight on into the wall. Gotta love teammate shenanigans some nights, you know. We're out here for charity. Gotta have fun. We're all out here because of the Steve King Foundation. If you haven't donated yet or are interested in donating, please visit C2CRL.com. The donation link to the PayPal will be there. And, you know, we've raised, I don't want to be called a liar here, so I'm going to be safe. I think it's in the 6,000, but I'm going to be safe and say $4,000 to $5,000 we've raised so far for the Steve King Foundation. Through all the different charities, they talked about us. They welcomed a group last season there at the Knoxville Speedway. I wish I could have went, man. Definitely wish I could have been there to meet a lot of you guys. I wish I could bait everyone into coming in to seeing a PA Speedweeks because, well, I'm about 45 minutes to, well, an hour and a half from Port Royal. That's going to be the furthest one for me. And I'm actually, it's called PA Speedweeks. It always infuriates us all around here, but somehow Hagerstown Speedway gets a race in PA Speedweeks. They're down there in Maryland, but that's a Williams Grove wannabe racetrack. If you've ever watched a race there, as far as I'm concerned, Hagerstown, not very safe either. You know, I'm not one to like complain about that kind of stuff, but I mean, I'm no kids yet for me. My wife and I would love to have kids, but start to get at that age where you definitely look at safety, and I can see sometimes why my dad would have concerns at me racing certain places there as a teenager, and well, you can see why you go to a racetrack like that. Openings coming out of the backstretch there. He returns the favor and drives off Stevie Golder. And then he's gonna do a little half donut to celebrate. All he's missing is the ice cream cone, but he might be going down there getting that right now. Almost ready to go here, running up close to 8 o'clock. So if you're out there watching, let us know who you're rooting for tonight. I know we got a lot of Salas fans. I see Hollow out there. Not too sure who Hollow is, but how's it going? Thanks for chiming in. Getting ready to get going here around 9 o'clock. And you talk about being way off the mark. When I said 4 to 5 to be safe, and then I think it was 6. Well, I was way wrong. $12,000 we've raised so far for the Steve King Foundation. So give it up to all of us, you know, trashy, dirt car loving American Canadians, you know. I mean, when we get together, we do it right, and we have fun while we do it. Most of the time, you know, obviously you're going to get some here and there, but most of these have just been absolute drama-free, with drivers realizing why we're here, what we're doing it for, and, you know, if they want to do any fun, you know, wreck any teammates, rough them around, you do what Goldner and Lacey are doing right now in practice. This is where you do it. You go out here and have your fun. We have 19 cars right now in the session, as actually the checkered flag waves here on warm-ups, and we get ready to go into qualifying. So just like that, I hope y'all are ready to go, because they certainly are. I assume we won't run a B main again. We only have 21 drivers, so everyone will make the feature here this evening. Right now, the low line master, Brennan Lacey, taking that Brandon Templeton role. When Brandon Templeton's here, he's always the first qualifier, but when Brandon Templeton isn't here, well, it's open for anyone. And Brennan Lacey, he won the opening lap qualifier here in the 358 modifieds, and he wins the opening shaggy lap here again in the 360s. Let's see what lap number 1 looks like. Brennan Lacey comes around 13.15. Pretty good there for the low line master. Probably looking for a little bit more speed, though, as Greg Boydell, man, good lap for the 014. GJ, what can he do? Can he improve second time around? The answer is no, but GJ Boydell still going to be sitting P2. Gotta like what he's got so far. Randy Shreves here, lap number 2, P4 after the opener. What can the 56 do? Rolling out a 4. Purple through sector 2, but is it enough after being slower through 1? No, it's not. As Blake Chapman, lap number 1, he parks at P2. He can't improve on lap number 2. He's going to stay as we try to find the low line master, Kyle Moonen. Or no, the Moon Man. The low line master is Brennan Lacey. What am I doing? The Moon Man here in the 24, Kyle Moonen. What can he do? Lap number 1, Kyle Moonen, P6. As he comes around here, second and final time. What can Kyle Moonen do? Is he going to find speed? 3, second lap, 13.36, a little slower for the driver of the 11, Chad Cote. As everybody puts in a lap here qualifying, we have 19 cars. Brennan Lacey, Blake Chapman, Chad Cote, GJ Boydell, and Stephen Goldner. Your top 5 after qualifying. Now, I'm not too sure here if we'll go 3 heats, 7, 6, 6, or if we'll do a 10 and a 9. So, your guess really here is good as mine. As we will get ready here to go into heat race number 1. Let's actually click that on time. Yeah, so 5 seconds here about till we get ready to go. We'll see that. I don't know. I can't remember. Do they wave the checkered flag at the end of qualifying? We're about to find out together. I don't think they do. I think it just teleports time. You may see the clouds move a little bit. And we are going the 2 heat race deal. So I knew it would be one or the other, but we're going to have a 10 and a 9 here. So let's take a look at the starting grid. Heat race number 1. Row number 5 to the outside in the 34. Gary Taylor into the inside, the 36 of Barry Goldner. Excuse me there for the hiccup. Row number 4 on the outside. The 94 of Gary Offit into the inside. His teammate in the 4, Greg Parmalee. Row number 3 to the outside. The General in the 87. Andy Patton into the inside. That's 789 of Cale Bixler. Row number 2 on the top shelf. The Moon Man in the 24. Kyle Moonen to the inside. The 30 of Stephen Goldner. Row number 2, starting, oh geez, here I flubbed that twice. Row number 1 for heat race number 1 here at the Volusia Speedway to the outside in the 11. Chad Cote, and starting on the pole, your quick time in the 4:14, Brennan Lacey. Man, Cat got the tongue twice here, and see if we can't refresh this here real quick. As we roll through 3 and 4, we'll see if the Steve King Foundation pace truck dives off. It does indeed dive off. As Brennan Lacey set to bring the boys to play. 8 laps here at Volusia Speedway. Heat race number 1 is underway. Good jump there for the 414. His teammate Stephen Goldner able to drop right in line. And here comes their other teammate, that 24, Kyle Moonen. Oh, contact between Goldner and Lacey. And Brennan Lacey hard into the wall, and we're under caution here. That's news to me. I wasn't sure if we'd have cautions in the heat race, but we do. And you see Stephen Goldner goes for a slide job. Lacey, at this point, not willing to back out of it. Maybe thought his teammate was going to stay down there. But as you see, his teammate did not stay down there. Floats up, a lot of contact. Let's go on board here with the 414. So Brennan Neary, you can kind of see it now, but at this point, stayed in it, wasn't willing to get out of it. Goes into that right rear, hard contact for Brennan Lacey, up and over, up and over. Lands on his side and has to tow that thing down pit road. Not the way Brennan Lacey wanted to start his night here in the 360 sprints, but at this point, doesn't really have a choice here. Going to have to try and work his way up through the field. Now, the caution definitely helps here. He'll be able to hopefully get out in time. He's still on pit road as of now, but caution laps are counting, so we're just watching the racing time click away for these drivers, and the guy really loving that is the 11 of Chad Cote. It's going to be that guy setting the pace out front. Unless Goldner should be the leader, I would think. But or you go back to maybe the previous lap there. And Chad Cote was the leader. Not too sure about that one. Is Dino getting ready to go to sleep here? I think the green flag waves again. We're halfway, 4 to go here. Heat race number 1. And well, Brennan Lacey, I forgot about that caution laps count, so he's back there 3 laps down. There is nothing the 414 can do. And with 3 to go here at Volusia. Or no, okay, there we go. The caution laps weren't counting. There it goes, got refreshed. That's a little better. Lacey now battling for position, because if caution laps were counting, I couldn't see why he would have even went back out there, so it makes a little more sense now. Does Steven Goldner have time to go out here and run down the 11? For Brennan Lacey's sake, he's hoping Goldner can go out there and get it done, because he was leading the way and all of a sudden finds himself in the back here. You see how hard it is to pass. Brennan Lacey, clearly one of the quicker drivers in coast to coast, but when you're smart back there in traffic and you got guys wrecking in front of you, Gary Taylor spinning like a top. Boy, oh boy, that 34, man, he went for a ride. Hard wreck coming out of 4, and man, oh man, these boys couldn't have behaved themselves any better in the 358s. But we get out here in the sprint cars, the gloves start coming off. And Gary Taylor, he's thinking he's going to go 2 for 1 here, I guess. Clears Gary off, and not clear of Greg Parmalee. Gets into the side of that 4. They loop around, nowhere to go for Brennan Lacey. Hard hit into the 34, who absolutely just around and around and around and around. I mean, I tried to do that move on Tony Hawk Pro Skater when I was like 11. I had to enable the anti-gravity cheat. But not Gary Taylor. He's found a way to figure it out here at Volusia. One of the wildest rides we've seen here. No, Brennan Lacey, he already used, or maybe a charity night, that's right, unlimited quick repairs, I imagine, so that's how he's able to go in there and get that thing. Normally, we only have the one quick repair, but that's what caught me off guard here. He's around the General Andy Patton. He's got that Inferno Motorsports 87 up into the top 4 now. Started 6th, Barry Goldner. Where is Barry after this cycles out? He's in 6th. He started 9th. So he's had the benefit of some misfortune in front of him this evening. Yeah, man, Shaggy. The nickname came to me, actually. Not self-inflicted. Not the one I'd choose. We're back underway here at Volusia, 2 to play. Great jump here from the 11 of Chad Cote, Steven Goldner. Not so good of a restart. He's got the 24. His teammate Kyle Moonen right behind him. Can the Moon Man find a way to make a move? We've got 1 lap to go here at Volusia. Kel Bixler in the 789. He's got that thing up in 4th. Andy Patton looks to the inside, and Gary Offit coming with a run, but final time out of 4. Chad Cote wins heat race number 1, followed by Steven Goldner, Kyle Moon, and Kel Bixler. Gary Offit, Greg Parmalee, Barry Goldner, Andy Patton, Gary Taylor, and Brennan Lacey rounds out the field. There comes Brennan Lacey. That thing didn't look the healthiest there, crossing the line, and well, he'd better hope he brought an endless supply of wings to the racetrack tonight, because it has been a rough night for the 414 as we take a look at the starting grid of heat race number 2. Rounding out the field in the 75, the Mayor, Steve Bixler. Row number 4 to the outside, the 113 of Keith Jackson. And to the inside, the 747 of the Bassman, Roger Craig. Row number 3 on the outside, the 05 of Devo, Donovan Ross. And to the inside, the 78 of Jack Clevenger. Row number 2 on the outside, the 27 of Chad Griggs. And to the inside, the 56 of Randy Shreves. Row number 1 for your second and final heat race of the evening here at Volusia Speedway. Starting on the outside of the front row, the 014 of G.J. Boydell. And starting on the pole, the 20 of the salesman, Blake Chapman. Get ready here. Second and final heat race, Blake Chapman. Set to bring the field to the grid here, but Steve King Foundation Pace Truck decided it needs a little more TV time. It's going to stay out there for one more trip around the sun here, so no rush. As Blake Chapman, he may want to get this thing going. You know, you get the nerves jumping sometimes sitting in that race car. I was always one of those guys, man, even when it wasn't cold, I would sit in the grid in real life and just, my teeth would chatter, man. I was one of those guys who get so nervous. But you get out there, the wind starts flowing through the helmet, and it all goes away. As the Steve King Foundation Pace Truck pulls off, the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 8 laps to play in the clay of Volusia Speedway. Heat race number 2 underway. Oh, the 014 gets a little sketched going into the corner. That allows Chad Griggs to take a peek. Chad looking for P2 here bright and early. But Greg Boydell up in the Hershey Kisses. He's got a good run. Chad Griggs, meanwhile, running into some connection issues in that 27. G.J. Boydell might have freaked out a little bit there, cracked out of the throttle. As Blake Chapman takes a peek on the inside, he sees that 27 making a look. And got a couple guys blinking here. Randy blinked there. Chad Griggs blinked. So G.J. Boydell, he's got the minefield in front of him. Got to figure out how to work his way on through this as Devo looks to the inside of Jack Clevenger. They almost touch, and Jack drives around on that top shelf as Blake Chapman drives off into the sunset here in Florida. Coming to the cross flags halfway home. Keith Jackson tried to take a peek on Devo to the inside, but right now we're seeing drivers just lose that rear end. They can't complete the pass coming out of 4. A lot of grit down there on entry. It's real enticing. But when you float up on exit, you just break over that slick and you lose all traction in the right rear if you're not careful as Blake Chapman sails off through 3 and 4. Ooh, we got a little bit of a battle in our hands there. Steve Bixler, he's able to slide up in front of Keith Jackson, but Keith looks downstairs. He slides back up in front of the 75. These guys with 2 to go. This is the best race on track here, and it's for 7. Steve slides up. He's got it at the line. White flag flies. Blake Chapman, final time through 3 and 4. The kid's no stranger to victory lane at Volusia, and he's going to start on the front row here for tonight's feature. Chad Griggs, Randy Shreves, Greg Boydell, Jack Clevenger, Devo, Keith Jackson edges out Steve Bixler, and Roger Craig rounds out the field here in heat race number 2. And well, we're going to be ever so patient here. We're going to see. Okay, we are just going to warm-ups, so no B-main. We'll be right back here after a short word. Stick around. We're back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network as warm-ups come to a close. Stephen Goldner, Blake Chapman, and Andy Patton, your top three in warm-ups. Moonen and Lacey round out the top five. As we get ready to take a look here at our starting grid for tonight's A-Main here in your big feature finale for night number 2 for the Coast to Coast Speedweeks. Thank you for tuning in all night. Been a blast calling these races as always, and I imagine this one gonna be great as well. Rounding out the field all by his lonesome inside of row number 10 in the 414, the low line master Brennan Lacey. Inside of row number 9, to the outside in the 747, the bassman Roger Craig, and to his inside the 34 of Gary Taylor. The mare, Steve Bixler, lines up on the outside of row number 8 in the 75, and to his inside, the general, Andy Patton. Row number 7 to the outside in the 113, Keith Jackson, and on the inside, the 36 of Barry Goldner. Row number 6 to the outside in the 05, Devo Donovan Ross, and to the inside, the 4 of Greg Parmalee. Row number 5 on the outside, the 78 of Jack Clevenger, and to the inside, the 94 of Gary Offit. Row number 4 to the outside, the 014 of GJ Boydell, and to the inside, the 789 of Cale Bixler. Row number 3, starting on the outside, the 56 of Randy Shreves, and to the inside, the Moon Man in the 24, Kyle Moonen. Row number 2 on the outside, you got the top shelf master Chad Griggs in the 27, and to the inside, the 30 of Stephen Goldner. Row number 1 for your 360 sprint feature at the Volusia Speedway, to the outside, the 20 of the salesman Blake Chapman, and starting on the pole in the 11, the Goose, Chad Cote. We'll have to see if the Goose can get loose tonight or if Blake Chapman brought the leash along and is going to try to tame that Goose in the 11. Maybe Stephen Goldner, Randy Shreves can find a way to do this thing, or maybe Keith Jackson the whole way back there from row number 6. I've got my eye on the salesman on the outside of row number 1. He's my pick. Let me know who you got in the chat box. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. 50 laps to play in the clay of Volusia Speedway. We're underway. We're 3 wide for the lead. Wasting no time. The salesman upstairs where Mama hides the cookies. Goldner trying to sneak his way through the house down there in the basement. Both lines working. Goldner moves on up to second. Give the lead to Blake Chapman. Randy Shreves to the outside. Chad Cote from first to fourth here early. He is just sinking like a stone. The 014 of GJ Boydell. He's got that moisture upstairs. He drives around, and the Goose back to P5. Randy Shreves on that top shelf. He's been one of the drivers to watch in Friday Night Lights as well. You heard me mention that when we were talking about Isaac Salas, who actually, I realized there was a no-show for this one. Hopefully Isaac's good. Not too sure what happened to the 5. But the 56 of Randy Shreves, he's another driver who's really made a name for himself over there on Fridays with Joe Halter and his boys. Randy Shreves gonna show Blake, I've learned a thing or two, kid, and bringing home this checkered flag may not be as easy as you thought it was gonna be. Remember what Brian Dickens did to him in the 358 modifieds. If the 56 is close enough to just stand there and stalk the 20, well, you better watch out, Blake, because Randy is quick, and the caution flag flies for the first time here in the feature at Volusia. Gary Offit and Gary Taylor involved, I believe. Battle of the Garys here. You'll see the 94 of Gary Offit and the 34 of Gary Taylor. Let's see, Gary thinks about throwing a slide job and not clear. The 94, oh boy, hard into that wall. And, man, call the medic. Ambulance coming out of 4. Wild flip for Gary Offit and Chad Griggs. Not too sure what happened to Chad. Oh, so Chad actually missed the start of the race. He started from the pits. I didn't even notice that. Okay. So Chad starting this thing here in the rear of the field. Definitely got himself at a disadvantage. Not a lap down or anything like that, but 50 laps, not a lot of time when you're dirt track racing. That could go by in a flash here. He's going to have to try and figure a way out. Oh man, right now. Blake Chapman going to choose the inside here for this upcoming restart. Blake liking that inside lane here at the Volusia Speedway. Always has. Blake is one of those guys that just has really mastered the low line. Great with throttle control. And he knows, you know, you're conserving that right rear tire. And since we've come out with tire wear, that has been absolutely huge. It affects the outcome of races. But we're going to extend this. We're going to go around one more time. Probably waiting for someone to rejoin the field after a flip here. No, we know they didn't count in the heat race. I don't think they're counting now either. It's hard for me to really tell, to be honest with you, because that thing resets. I'm looking at so many different screens. So if somebody writes in that chat, if you know, if you've been paying a little bit of better attention to that than me, the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. We're ready to play lap number 7 here at Volusia Speedway. Good jump for Blake Chapman. Not so good for GJ Boydell. Found himself a little squirrely on the inside. Kyle Moonen, he gets into the back. He's got to check up. He looks to the inside. I told you, keep an eye out on that 13. Keith Jackson, he's got that 113 rolling up to 7th, possibly 6th here as he takes a peek on that 7, 8, 9. But Cale Bixler finds some moisture coming out of 2. Got that thing screaming up there in 3 and 4. We're 3 wide. Boydell, all of a sudden, he's the marshmallow in that peanut butter and jelly. As Cale Bixler up to the top 5. Keith Jackson still trying to work on 6th. But the battle's heating up for the lead. Randy Shreves all over the tail tank of that 20. Looking to make this thing interesting, but Randy not having the best internet support right now. That's not going to help his cause. You know, he's going to see the other drivers blinking, and when you see all of them blinking, you know it's you blinking. So you got to be careful where you put that race car, and that's going to be running through the 56 mind. You know, you're not able to just run this thing the way you normally would. You know, Mother Nature may be affecting this outcome, and that's not what you want if you're a driver. But Keith Jackson continues to drive his way onto the front. He's able to make that pass on GJ Boydell, up 8 spots to 6th, but a couple spots back here in 9th, trying to get around the 24, the Moon Man here for 8. Brennan Lacey started this thing in 19th, up 10 spots as the mayor. Look at the 75 here. He's coming back into the picture too. Steve Bixler, man, he's really gotten a handle on these wing sprint cars. And up here competing with Brennan Lacey and Kyle Noonan. I think if you'd have told him a couple months ago, hey, Steve, you're going to only not run with these guys. You're going to be quicker than them at some places, and you're going to pass them. I think he'd have been pumped. But Randy Shreves, while I was back here running my mouth, finally able to get around Blake Chapman for the lead. Blake was committed to that bottom, but now he sees the way the high side's working, going to go upstairs. We're not even close to halfway, so I don't think you're at, overreaction point. If you're Blake Chapman, if you see a guy hooking up, you stay where you're committed, but he knows a little better than I do. He's going to go up there and stay. Let's see how this field's spread out as you see the leaders go by. Here comes Gary Taylor. Here comes Offit. So we are coming up on lap traffic here, trying to pick apart who everyone is. Gary Taylor, the closest car to being a lap down, but right now Randy Shreves, man, you saw the camera freeze. That internet bug is really creeping up on him. It's charity night, so they'll let it go as long as they can. But if Blake starts getting a run back at him and starts making a move, it's kind of up to Randy at that point to wise up if you see yourself blinking and, you know, let this thing go for another day. But Blake tries that bottom through 3 and 4. You see no run, and all of a sudden the goose is loose. Chad Cote, he's back up here on the podium. Welcome to the top 3, Chad Cote. He's reeling these leaders in. And a man we don't get to see that often. The 789, Akale Bixler. Boy, oh boy, he has got a rocket tonight. That's 789. He's sitting in a Discord, I think, with Blake Chapman, and, you know, maybe getting a little bit of setup help, maybe getting some tips, tricks. Akale Bixler, that's the first time we've seen him jump the cushion. He is looking good in that 789 as Brennan Lacey looking for more, but Keith Jackson goes around on the outside for now, thinking about 3 wide. Kyle Moonen gives him plenty of room. Lacey floats up a little bit. He can go any lane of his choice now. The 14 slides up, move Brennan Lacey up to 8. Randy Shreves blinking a little bit there as we see the 34 of Gary Taylor. Lap traffic, doing a good job staying to the inside, holding his line as they come up on the 36. Here comes another lap car here, Barry Goldner. How do the leaders try to manipulate their way through traffic? Blake Chapman reels back in the 56. We're at the halfway point right now, 25 to go at Volusia. Blake Chapman gets a run out of 2. They're side by side. Blake Chapman thinks about a slide job. Not enough room. Keeps it in the middle. And Randy Shreves holds on for now, but he's on full alert as the caution flag flies for the second time. The Moon Man goes around here at Volusia. Kyle Moonen in the 24. See, just jumps that cushion, gets in the wall on entry. Bop, 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 just bounces all around. Hard into the tires, up and over. And man, oh man, you know, they're going to want to seal that off here before we come here next season. We've seen a lot of vicious hits there coming off of 4. So may have to take some of this charity money here, pay for a wall coming out of there. Close that opening. That's tough hit for some drivers here. You're looking right there. Chad Cote running around 3rd place. Blake Chapman 2nd. Randy Shreves, your current leader here at the Volusia Speedway. We see that flag go steady. Lights are still on though, so we're going to do at least 1 or 2 more trips around the sun here before we go back green. It used to freak me out here when I do these static cameras. If you listen close, sometimes you can hear birds chirping. It's pretty crazy that iRacing added some of that ambient sound. I thought I was losing my mind one night. If you go to Oswego on this game, they have country music playing very faintly. And when I was sitting there still on the track, I could hear country music playing. I thought I had my Spotify open, but it was... the track music. They do a pretty good job. Some of the ambient sounds. And we'll be coming to 23 laps to go here when we go back green. So drivers hoping they have enough fuel here, because I don't think laps are counting under caution here in the sprint cars. So the green flag's high. It's ready to fly. Randy Shreves goes a little later. Maybe caught Blake sleeping, but Blake's allowed to go back down to the inside. Likes the lane swap there. And Blake wasted no time at all. blasts it out of a cannon into 3, and we got a new leader this time by. Welcome the Salesman back to the lead. The Goose flapping those wings upstairs. Can he find a way to diamond under the 56? No. He's got to crack the throttle coming out. Got a little sideways as we see Goldner do the exact same thing his teammate did. Goldner keeps it out of the wall, though. Going to lose a bunch of spots. But the caution flag flies for Steven Goldner. And watch him get to knife his way back on up through this field. Merry Christmas, Steven Goldner. As the caution happens behind him, Donovan Ross. Not too sure what happens here. Just gets pinched down to the inside, tries to make a move under Jack Clevenger, just not any room. Hard hit into that inside wall, up and over. Boom, you're just watching shrapnel fly off that thing. Fans ducking. And Donovan Ross on the lid. You're going to have to tow that thing as... Man, Blake Chapman is just wishing this thing would stay green here. Try to bring this thing to a close. He's able to get back to the front, but now he's got to try to go through another restart. We saw what the restarts did to him in the 358s. You just want to keep, all anything that could go wrong out of the picture, and you can't always control restarts. Sometimes get a little too aggressive. I mean, at the end of the day, it is your fault, but you spin those tires and you can find yourself stuck. So Blake knows that all too well. Had it happen to him in the 358s, knows he needs to be perfect here on these restarts. And let's take a look here. Steven Goldner. Can we get a view of that right front? Now, considering I'm the cameraman, I should be able to answer that question myself. That's not what we want. Of course, I made that. No, we're not going to get a picture of that right front. I don't think I have any good cameras of that. So my apologies. I could go to a static cam here and stare at it. Let's see if it looks straight. Can't really tell because he's going through the corner. But Goldner up there in the top 5. He's probably at the point where we're over halfway. He's going to run what you brung here. I mean, you got damage, it's going to be tough to work your way up from 18th. Can't get new tires, so it's not like you can go in there and use some magic. But the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off. Blake Chapman drops the hammer. We're back underway. 20 laps to go at Volusia Speedway. Drivers dancing all around there in the back. Sketchy restart as Steven Goldner all over the back of the Goose here. They're 3 wide behind. Chad Griggs is the meat in the sandwich. He tries to float up, not clear. Cale lets him in. But boy, oh boy, Cale, man, he does a good job of dropping that hammer, going right back, and he's right back on the outside here of Chad Griggs. But Chad, plenty of room here, able to clear this time. As battle heats up for second. We got 3 cars, but not going to have time for it. As the caution flag flies one more time, Devo and Gary Taylor. Devo to the inside. Gary comes down out of 2, just loses the rear end a little bit too hard in the gas, and both of them hard contact into the outside wall going down the backstretch. And both of these guys have had a night full of hits here at the Volusia Speedway. Definitely not going their way here this evening. I saw you say press all the buttons. Well, I do press all the buttons, but see, for instance, this is labeled right front here, so I have to memorize these because when I save them, iRacing won't change it. But this isn't the right front. This is our, little roll bar driver camera here. Get to watch the hands, check the view out front. So I could keep clicking them, but it ain't going to do no... Well, I guess this gyro cam, I guess, yeah, you could kind of see. Let's go to Goldner's here. So, hey, see, tips are appreciated. You give me that tip, I realize, hey, did have that gyro camera, and looked like to me that right front pretty straight. He's able to hold on to 4th so far. He was right on Cote, who was right on Shreves Seems like right now Blake Chapman is the quickest car on the racetrack, unless maybe the Goose can find a way to flap those wings and get around the 56, get some air in front of him. He's just had a front end full of that 56. We haven't really got to see him go for it. Plenty of laps to go here, though, at Volusia. We'll have 17 to go when we come to the green flag. Caution laps definitely not counting because I've seen them go backwards in time now. So we know that. And I got to be honest with you, I'd kind of expect to see cautions count in the sprint cars and not the modifieds, because you could put plenty of gas in the modifieds. But these, fuel may become an issue. Guys are going to have to pay attention to that. The green flag's high. It's back out. 17 laps to go at Volusia. So if we see drivers starting to slow down, maybe run that bottom, they are worried about fuel. Not sure if that's going to become an issue or not, but just keep an eye on that if drivers start to slow down and pace along the bottom of the racetrack. 16 laps to go as the battle heating up for third. Steve and Goldner all over the 11, but look at them. Both of them get a run on the 56 of Randy Shreves. Chad Cote, here he comes. Randy just spinning those tires going down the backstretch. And meanwhile, the 11 and the 30, here they come. Big run on the outside, but you see Greg Boydell on the inside. Back under caution. Late yellow here. So you see him sitting on the inside of the racetrack. Tap there from Steve Bixler, up and over, comes back out and tries to straighten it up, but just nowhere to go. Pulls that thing down to the inside. Does the right thing as the leaders are coming, gets out of the way. And now we're back under caution for the 5th time here at Volusia. Like a restrictor plate race here, getting a lot of cautions. Volusia. Some of the tracks, normally a few less cautions, but we got guys right now. We put a lot of laps on this racetrack here, a lot of practice, so track is really wore out. We're seeing people slip and slide going down the straightaways. It's just a little overuse of that throttle. Maybe guys in front of you backing up the corner a little more than you. But it is what it is, and see that little bit of contact. I mean, that's the perfect example. Boydell, maybe a little faster than Bixler. You could see it. He passed him on the racetrack, but he was slower on corner entry, and probably the reason he's faster than Bixler. Slowing it down on entry, worried about that straightaway speed and that exit speed, trying to find that grip on the bottom. And we're seeing drivers right now like Blake Chapman. I'm telling you, they're worried about gas. Being that inside close to the wall, they are worried about gas. There's no other reason to slow the car down, not jerk around like that. They're worried about it. They're thinking about it. And the Steve King Foundation pace truck's about to pull off for hopefully the final time. So these guys have enough fuel. Drop the hammer. 14 to go at Volusia. Chad Cote trying to let those wings fly upstairs. Brennan Lacey, the low-line master, takes a peek right behind on his teammate, Steven Goldner. Because that's not what Goldner wants to see. He wants to go up here and battle for third. But all of a sudden, when you take a peek down low, you see Lacey down there. Going to make your work a lot harder. Is Goldner and Cote, man. They keep getting runs on that 56. But Shreves keeps getting saved by these cautions. If this thing stays green, Cote gives him a bump going down the straightaway. And boy, oh boy. Caution flag flies one more time. And you see it there. I mean, he kept getting those runs, but this will be the view. I mean, Randy Shreves, that's his line. He owns the high side. He's still there. I mean, that's his. And Cote, he tries to cut down underneath, doesn't crack the throttle, hooks the 56, and Randy Shreves, man, after a good run, running up in the top 3 all evening. Up and over, hard flip, man. Dude, hard, holy wow. We gotta go, oh my gosh, we gotta actually watch it. He's hung up in the fence. I mean, just a hard hit up and over into the outside wall. Gets that right rear hung up on the top of the fence, and Randy Shreves, man, see him gassing it up, trying to drive it out of the fence here. Does he have it? Oh, Randy! Oh, it doesn't land on all four. Dang it. Hats off there to Randy Shreves trying to get that thing out there so he could avoid the tow. Blake Chapman, though, he looks up in that mirror. He sees somebody different now. Sees Chad Cote back there, and we'll talk to Chad after this if he's lucky enough to bring this thing home on the podium. Looks like he's quick. He's got his chance. He's going to have 10 or 11 laps to go, 11 to go when we drop the hammer. So he's got the car for it. He's got an opportunity. As the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off, the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. We're back underway at Volusia Speedway. Good jump there for the salesman, Blake Chapman, and Chad Cote now. He's got clear air here. He's got to try to run down Blake Chapman. He's got two quick cars behind him. And Goldner and Lacey, they may be consumed with each other here as Goldner not able to get to the rear end here of Cote just yet. Lacey all over the tail tank of that 30, and here comes Chad Griggs. Chad in that outside wall, able to get it out. Gets a good run through the center. That was a sketchy entrance there for the 27 of Chad Griggs, who they're all looking at this man. Blake Chapman way out front here at Volusia Speedway. Got that thing to almost a second here as we come to 8 laps to go. Oh, we're 3 wide back here. You see Andy Patton there in the mix. Steve Bixler downstairs. Keith Jackson in the middle. Steve Bixler, man, he's come on a charge here late. Really quick here on the slick track. Steve Bixler trying to move that 75 on up. Brennan Lacey here. He's able to get around his teammate in the 30, Stephen Goldner. But Chad Griggs, 2 for 1 special going down the backstretch. He gets both. Welcome to the party, Chad Griggs. Brennan Lacey slide job. Chad Griggs going to try to cut underneath. What kind of run can he get? Finds the holster going down the backstretch. He's got him clear off into 4. Brennan Lacey gets into that outside wall. And man, oh man, you got to think that right front maybe broke. He got into the wall pretty hard. Looks tight here in 1 and 2, but he's doing a good job of wheeling that. Coming to 4 laps to go. Blake Chapman this time. You see second. You see third, Chad Griggs. Your podium almost looks set. Can Chad maybe get up here and flirt with P2? That's looking to be the only chance we have for a swap here in the top 3 as Chad Cote has really seen that gap shrink here to Chad Griggs. Chad with 3 to go. He's got the fishing pole out. He's reeling him in. Chad so quick up there through 3 and 4. Cote with a much better run this time. And with 2 to go, may have enough to hold off the 27. As Blake Chapman through 3 and 4. White flag in the air. 1 more trip around for the salesman. Blake Chapman, he watched the 3:58 race slip away from him with 2 to go. Not this time. 3-second lead coming through 3 and 4. Checkered flag for Blake Chapman. Chad Griggs on the high side coming out of 4. He gets P2 at the line. Cote, 3rd, rounding out your podium. Lacey and Stephen Goldner, your top 5 is... Man, oh man, Chad Griggs quick at the end. Just maybe not enough time to go up there and play with the salesman will never know. Big lead, great restart from Blake, and he is able to get it done once again here in a 360 sprint car. No surprise. Congratulations to the salesman, Blake Chapman. As we give these guys a minute or two here to get up into the booth. See if we can't find my little nifty interview camera. There she lays. We'll slap up Chad's name here. And now we'll see if we can find no Chad in Discord yet. We'll give him a little bit here. And there he is. We'll bring him up here. The man who finished P3 in the 11. Chad Cote. Chad, you know, it seemed like in the beginning of the race, man, you took it easy. You played it exactly the way you should. And at the end of the race, man, you had some grip that others didn't. How'd you feel?
I felt really good, actually. About 3/4 of the way through the race, I don't know exactly what happened between me and Randy. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. But we battled good. But, yeah, I had grip. I'm learning with these sprint cars that you got to be good on the right foot now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's been kind of important. But what do you think helps you with that? I mean, are we just babying it a little bit more in the center of the corner? I mean, you know, I don't need all your tips and tricks, but as you see, a lot of guys out there, you know, sliding around down the straightaways. And while this 11, man, you looked like you were on rails. What's the trick?
To be honest with you, I was probably running that for a good chunk of that race, like 3/4 throttle all the way around the track, and just about keeping the car under you. And these cars, once it gets out from under you, you could be in big trouble.
Well, Chad, man, you're able to keep it under you tonight. Looking like you were going to have P2 for a good bit there in the end, but Chad able to sneak yeah, Chad, duh, you're both named Chad. Jesus, I was worried I said that wrong, but yeah, Grig's able to sneak around you. But at the end of the day, man, we're here for charity. That was a hell of a run from the 11. You put on a good show. Who you want to thank, Chad?
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Yeah, Chad threw a good slider there at the end, but shout out to the sponsors, Finish Line Race Designs, Boss Hog Off-Road, and Bonehead Podcasts. Zach, great job tonight in the broadcast booth, buddy. Thank you very much.
Hey,
and this is for a great charity.
Yeah, man, it really is. Love doing this, especially, man, you guys get battling like you did. You put on a good show. Makes it a lot easier for me. So, hell of a job, Chad. Hopefully I get to talk to you here later in the week, brother.
Thank you, man.
Chad Cote, your P3 finisher. And now we're going to bring up the man who finished P2, Chad Griggs, man. You know, involved in different accidents here tonight. None of your doing. And it just seems like at the end, you finally get to unleash the beast. You drive up here to P2, but you just ran out of time, Chad.
Yeah, it was some internet issues early, and I didn't get to even grid. So I had to pull out after the green flag and start in the very back. So I just had to kind of bide my time. And then they're late. Had the cautions that I needed, and just it was all I could do to get to where I was at. But I'm happy with being able to come through the field and bring home second.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's, you know, not to inflate that head, Chad, but you know it. You're one of the better sprint car drivers we have. And, I mean, even, you know, you mentioned your internet issues. I highlighted on that first caution. I was wondering why you were in the back. And then I caught that, hey, you didn't start the race and you had to pull out. But, I mean, dude, even a driver of your caliber at a track like this here where it's really widened out, how do you find the throttle control to get by people? I mean, is it just constant laps here, or what is it, Chad?
I like Volusia. I really like running here. It's just a matter of you're trying to be patiently aggressive, I guess. So I'm trying to be patiently aggressive. Take what's given to me, basically.
No, yeah. I mean, and that's really what you got to do. You know, I mean, if you try to force your way into things, you just find yourself getting into trouble. And when you do get that little sliver of hope, man, you're that guy. You'll force the car in there, but you do it clean and you do it the right way. So, Hell of a run, Chad. We're lucky to have you here for Charity Week. Good run, man. Who you want to thank on the P2?
Thank Roger and everybody behind the scenes that put this on and make it possible, and all the sponsors that chip in and make it possible as well. Thank you and everybody else who does the broadcasts all week long. It's a long week. Appreciate that. Thank Scott Thomason Racing, my team. Also Josh Whiteman with Finish Line Race Designs. And I think I heard my wife and daughter upstairs cheering for me after the race. So I want to thank them for watching. They never watch me race, but I think they might have watched tonight.
Well, hey, tell them I said thank you too. You know, getting that view count up, I appreciate it. And Chad, man, it was fun watching you drive back through the field. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Okay, I'm gonna bug you one more time. Maybe you don't even know, but with the cautions, were you guys worried about gas at all?
I was showing that I was good on fuel the whole race, so I was never really worried about fuel. The fuel was not an issue tonight at all.
Okay, well, hell of a job, Chad. Congratulations, man. Who you want to thank? Oh, wait, you just did that, didn't you? Yeah, you just did that.
I'll thank you again. How about that?
There we go. Sorry, Chad. Long night. Long night, brother. Hell of a run, man. Hopefully I talk to you again this week.
Thanks, Shaggy.
And, well, we'll pull up the right driver here, and we'll only ask him once because this kid, he knows what he's doing. Blake, man, this thing, you know, you had me worried there a little bit. You got out to the lead, and you let Randy get on by. But, I mean, were we just kind of, you know, saving our stuff a little bit, maybe laying in the grass?
Yeah, I probably could have pushed it harder if I wanted to, but I didn't want to, you know, use up all my stuff so early. So, you know, we kind of let him by there, and he was blinking a little bit, and I couldn't tell if he was outside or not. So we just let him by, and, you know, once he got around, I just kind of started following him around a little bit, and then eventually I moved down and found that middle to bottom line, which I ran towards the end of the race too, and it was really, really fast. And you know, we were able to get a really good run coming out of 2-1 time and slide him and take the lead. And I really wasn't sure what to expect with this setup. This is a setup that I haven't run for a feature yet. I run this at quite a few big tracks just for qualifying, but you know, I was just trying something out. This was a charity event. It wasn't the points race or anything. I was trying to see if this thing is going to work for a feature event, and it felt really, really good all night long. So hopefully we can work with it just a little bit more to get it perfect, and hopefully this thing will be a rocket on Monday nights too.
Well, hey, man, I'm just grasping at straws here, but, you know, normally when we play with these things here in the 360s, it's nighttime out here with the sun still out there a little bit. Does the car drive different? Maybe the track wear different, or does it seem pretty familiar?
Yeah, I don't think the car drives different, but I definitely think in my experience that the track does wear in a little bit, you know, and how certain areas of the track get slick during different times of the day, you know, which is really interesting. And I think honestly, the last couple times, if I'm not mistaken, we've ran here at night. It's been a little rough, and it was really, really smooth tonight, which was awesome. The car handled really, really well. So, you know, it's something to keep in mind when you're working with setups that, you know, the time of day can adjust how the track comes in, and it just adds, you know, something else to think about.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, maybe we throw in some afternoon races every now and then, mix it up throughout the season. It might be a good mix because you guys put on a good race tonight, and boy, this 20 was fast. Hell of a job, Blake. Congratulations, man. Double podium for night 2. Who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the parents for watching all night long. Got to thank the guys down at KSR and the Salty Dogs for letting me hop in their room tonight. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and 88 AJ Custom Creations. Got to thank Steve Bixler down at Steve's Custom Golf Clubs. And of course, I got to thank everyone that's just involved in putting this charity event on. I'm having a lot of fun so far with it. And of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. You know, they got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website and use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 50% off of their very delicious product. And I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on, Shaggy.
Hell of a run, Blake. Congratulations. And you tell Steve the next time he's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, I need a 2-iron regrip. That was my grandfather's. So if he's working with clubs, you know, I need someone I trust to regrip that one.
Well, I'm sure he's listening. I'm sure he'll get that message.
All right. Well, heck of a run, Blake. Congratulations. And, man, I don't know what the plans are, but hopefully I talk to you again later in the week, kid.
Yeah, I'd love that. Thanks, Shaggy.
Blake Chapman, double podium tonight. And I warned you. I told you guys all, during his interview in the 358s, it said, we're going to talk to you again as long as you can stay out of the wall. And, well, Blake played it safe, rode around that bottom, only rode the high side when he needed to keep up with Randy there in that middle stage of the race. But flexed his muscles down there on the bottom, going down the backstretch, got the pass done before the halfway point, and just never looked back. Congratulations, Blake Chapman, your 360 sprint car winner. And with that, we're going to wrap it up here, night number 2 of the Speed Weeks. I start a new adventure tomorrow night, so I'm not sure who's going to be broadcasting, but my iRacing broadcasting adventures continue. So I will be gone, but Wednesday and Thursday, I'm your man. I'm back. So make sure you're here with me. Don't miss a beat. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I'm Zach Chapman, signing off. Thank you for watching.